show you how to find your snowboarding stance and how to mount your bindings with the right angles and all the settings that you will need to know for the bindings. So this right here is a pair of the snowboard bindings. They have this protective cover that you can screw and remove in order to perform the setup. And there's also this plastic ring with screws that is used to determine the angle of your binding. So we will take those out and set everything aside for a brief moment while we figure out what type of riding we will use, and the bindings angles and setback, which we will talk about later, is heavily dependent on the type of board and the riding you will do. So this right here is all mountain board used for everything. It's very versatile board, so you can see that the nose or the front part of the board is longer than the tail, and the tail is a bit more rounded. So, and the binding inserts, which are these holes here, are set back to the left, to the rear of the board, so you have more control in powder and stuff like that. And this right here is the best board type for the beginners. It is a twin board, meaning that both sides of the board are symmetrical, the nose and the tail, but it is a directional twin, meaning that the board inserts, binding inserts, are a bit set back to the rear. So this is the best shape for beginners, dashboard for beginners. It is the most forgiving, and the board that we will perform the binding setup is this board. This is a freestyle board that I am using. It is a true twin shape, meaning that it is completely symmetrical. After you found out your board, you will need to determine your stance. Your stance will be the width that the bindings are set apart, and it is usually best to use the reference stance, which is marked in some way by the manufacturer, or you will measure the length from the bottom of your foot to your knee, to the middle of the knee, precisely, and that is usually the best stance for you. So, talking about the angles of the bindings, there are many different binding angle options. You have like 15, minus 15, or negative 15. A positive number is when the binding is angled towards the nose, and negative when it's angled towards the tail of the board. So for beginners, it is best to use like 15 and negative 12. So for directional boards, you will use a higher angle on the front foot, and maybe even 0 or negative 6, all the way up to the 12 on the rear foot. So in this case, in my case, I will be using 15 and negative 15 because I'm using a true twin board. So there are numbers marked on the circle, and we will set that to 15 right here. And I have already preset my stance here. I will be using these holes right here, and we will want to aim at them right here. And we will do the same thing with the other binding. So here we are using negative 15. Adjust the circle to be matching with the arrow right here, and this is the angle which is determined, and all we have to do now is screw the screws. I have adjusted my angles and bindings completely in order to make sure that everything is symmetrical. So when screwing in, you want to screw in one screw at a time, but not all the way to the end, and then you will screw in the screw that is diagonal from it, and then the other two screws. So this is the top right screw, now the bottom left, once again not too tight, then the bottom right, and the top left. Now that all the screws are tightened, you will want to screw them in completely with lots of pressure in order to ensure that the bindings will stay in place and the screws don't, and the screws stay tight. Now for the left binding, so diagonally, first top right, not too tight, and bottom left, then bottom right, and the top one. Now we screw them in completely. Pressure. Diagonally as well. Once again. Now, after you mounted your bindings, you want to mount the protective covers. So in this case, you have these bars here, which clicking with these. So you just slide them in and screw them in right here. In my case, I am using the third hole right here. So we adjust the screw to that hole and we screw it in. On the left binding as well. Now after you mount your bindings, you want to make sure that they are sitting well, nothing is moving, everything is good. And now comes the preparation of the bindings for your boot actually. So first thing, this part right here is called the high back. It is controlling the forward lean of your high back. So the high back is this popping thing right here. And using the forward lean, we are adjusting the angle. So as you can see, when we have cranked up the high back, the forward lean is much bigger. So basically, the bigger the forward lean is, the more responsive your heel side turns will be. So you will not need to apply as much pressure on your heels, so you can carve heel side. But for beginners, I recommend a little bit of this. For freestyle or park riders, the forward lean is usually zero, as in my case. And the next part is adjusting these. So it is recommended that you put your boot in and then adjust your straps according to that. So I have my boots right here, and for demonstration, I will not be putting them on, but you should do this with your boots on. So you will put your boot inside the binding, and for the adjustment, you will want your binding not to be too loose on either side, so when you strap it in, it is holding well, and for the ankle strap as well. So you tighten it up to make sure that everything is staying tight, nothing is moving, so that means that everything is responsive, and you will do that for the other boot as well. So as you can see, some bindings go over the top of your toes, and some go on the corner of the boot. So these are going for the corner of the boot. As you can see, everything is holding there very well, and ankle strap is there as well. So this is how you tighten up your binding, and using the screws, you actually unscrew them and adjust the length of both straps, so that changes the positioning of this tab right here, which is holding your foot in place. So this is used for toe strap, and for the ankle strap, the screw is right here. So this is it for the setup of your board. After you have mounted your bindings, I will teach you how to wax your board and actually how to ride. So thank you for watching this part, and I will see you in the next one.